You stop aging. Time freezes for your cells, but your height remains on a permanent upward trajectory. Every day, another single centimeter is added to your frame. At first, this is a dream. You are the star of every basketball team in human history. Clothes become expensive disposable rags. Ceilings are no longer architectural boundaries, they are obstacles. Doorways are mere suggestions. Within a decade, the average bedroom becomes a claustrophobic coffin. Your head is permanently pressed against the drywall. Your neck bends at a 90-degree angle just to see the television. This is a minor inconvenience until the house can no longer contain your mass. The roof finally gives way tonight. Physics has a cruel rule called the square cube law. As you double in height, your surface area quadruples, but your volume increases eightfold. Weight grows much faster than strength. Calcium deposits in the femur cannot keep pace with the exponential increase in mass. Eventually, the critical threshold is reached. Your leg bones no longer support the torso. They don't just crack, they shatter like dry porcelain under a hydraulic press. The skeleton collapses into a heap of biological rubble. Since you cannot age or die, the body simply exists as a wide, pulsing puddle of immortal meat. Gravity becomes your primary enemy. You are now a human pancake with an infinite and relentless growth rate. Physical collapse is not the end. The growth persists. Flesh continues to expand outward across the landscape. You are no longer a person, you are a geographical feature. The local government attempts to designate your torso as a protected national park for adventurous hikers. Internal plumbing fails next. The heart is a muscle designed to pump blood a few feet. It is not designed to push oxygenated fluid across several city blocks. Blood pressure drops to zero at the extremities. The brain, located miles above the heart, suffers from permanent hypoxia. Consciousness becomes a flickering candle. However, the biological growth doesn't care about oxygen. The cells continue to divide and expand without any regard for nutrient delivery. Necrosis sets in, but the immortality clause prevents actual death. The body becomes a massive, rotting glacier of non-functional tissue. Thousands of tons of skin fold over themselves in undulating waves. You are now a mountain of meat that smells like a landfill in July. The sheer scale of the biomass begins to alter the local microclimate. Rain begins to fall much more frequently over your massive shoulders. Growth accelerates. The torso eventually breaches the troposphere. The air becomes thin and freezing. At 30,000 feet, the skin is blasted by jet engines. At 50,000 feet, the body enters the stratosphere. Oxygen is now a memory. The cold turns the outer layers of flesh into a frozen biological shell. This shell protects the inner core from the vacuum of space. Because growth is constant, the mass begins to displace the atmosphere. Billions of tons of biological matter push the air aside. This creates massive high-pressure zones. Global wind patterns shift. Hurricanes are born from the displacement of your expanding chest. Cities are leveled not by weather but by the slow, inevitable push of your growing flank. The Earth's crust begins to groan under the concentrated weight. The lithosphere cannot sustain a point load of this magnitude. Your center of gravity creates a depression in the mantle. The ground simply sinks. You are effectively a biological asteroid landing in very slow motion. The growth enters a planetary phase. The body now wraps around the equator. The sheer volume of flesh displaces the oceans. Salt water is pushed into the poles. The moon's gravity begins to tug on the biomass, creating biological tides that ripple across the continents. You are no longer on Earth. You are the Earth. The planet is now a small marble encased in a sphere of immortal, non-thinking meat. This mass increases the planet's total gravity. The orbit of the Earth begins to decay. The sun's heat boils the outer layers, creating a planetary-scale crust of charred skin. The atmosphere is completely replaced by the off-gassing of an infinite biological reactor. Every remaining human is absorbed into the folds of the flesh. Space agencies attempt to launch probes, but the rockets just crash into the undulating meat horizon. Eventually, the mass reaches a critical density. The gravitational pull of your body becomes so intense that the sphere collapses inward. A massive black hole is born from the growth of a single human who simply forgot to stop getting taller. The singularity consumes the solar system. Jupiter is swallowed. The sun is extinguished as it is pulled into the biological void. The galaxy is slowly digested by a gravitational well that started as a growth spurt. Light cannot escape the density of your former self. The universe is now a dark, cold place, dominated by a single infinitely dense point of immortal tissue. Physics has won. Biology has been compressed into a mathematical point. The expansion is finally over because there is simply no more space. However, there is one remaining problem. According to the intergalactic zoning laws of the Andromeda Council, your existence constitutes an unauthorized structural expansion. A formal notice is issued. You are fined 4 trillion credits for failing to obtain a proper building permit for the singularity. This is why you should always listen to your doctor about growth hormones. Subscribe to the What If Club for more ways to accidentally destroy the entire known physical universe.